This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com. This show is brought to you by Slice on Broadway, supporting Pittsburgh podcasting with the perfect pepperoni pizza. Production services by Sidekick Media Services. And listeners like you, supporting us at patreon.com/AwesomeCast. It's time to get geeky, get awesome. It is the AwesomeCast. I'm Mike Sorg at Sorgatron on the social media and the Sorgatron Media Studios in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Ready to get geeky with you guys here tonight. The penultimate, is that what they say? Show of the year. We're going to have our year-end Christmas prediction show next week, but we have a regular-ish show tonight. You know, when you do a live podcast every week, you never know what's going to happen. Sometimes you're going to find out yourself with no co-host at the last minute, which things happen. It's okay. But in the meantime, you still got it. The show must go on. And usually at this point, I'd be scrambling and say, hey, Riz, please be a co-host at like 5 minutes too. But thankfully, I got a great crew here that's been listening to the AwesomeCast, been doing social media and chat for the AwesomeCast for the last couple of months. So they are ready to go. So we have with us Intern Tony.
Hello. Honored to be here.
There you go. Honored? Wow.
Honored, yeah.
Wow, I wasn't expecting that.
This is a big honor.
And then Intern Mac is here as well.
Hello. I'm happy to be here. I don't know about honored.
No. At least I love the honesty there. Now, Mac, we've been giving a lot of airtime on Mayhem Show because oddly, Tony knows wrestling. Mac is new to it, so we've been educating Mac and making Mac do homework assignments over there. So I'm excited to see what you guys do on this show, and we can have some fun with it. So let's kick it off. In the meantime, hey guys, if we do have some live chat going on here, so if you want to join us, we're over on the Facebook for the AwesomeCast is where a lot of people are chatted up, but we also have some options out there. If you're following us over on I got to set up the Facebook apparently. If you join us over the Sorgatron Media Twitch as well as the AwesomeCast YouTube, and we do have hashtag AC761 over on Blue Sky. If you want to follow us with any commentary over there as you watch, we appreciate it. We like to bring those into the show if they pop up, and even if it's my mom. My mom does show up a lot for this show. She doesn't show up for the wrestling show. I understand why. So, anyways, let's get into our. So I'll kick it off to give you guys a second to get into this. And I don't know if you guys are going to be excited about this as I am, because this is we were just watching some old wrestling from my era back in the mid 80s. And this is about the same time I was watching my Transformers. And we've been talking about Robosen, I think is the name of the company. I've been doing these awesome Transformers robots, and they just released a Shockwave. That's the old boombox Decepticon, evil boombox one from back in the day. It transforms by itself. It does voice actions. It's programmable like a lot of the other ones. But one of the really cool things that this does on top of things, and we're showing video from the official Robosen page as well, but I think there's a creator that's doing it. And there's a Megatron for scale for those who are interested in that. It's about $1,000. That's a deal right now. I think they took $400 off of this thing. And the cool thing is when it's in boombox mode, there's a Bluetooth function so you can play your tunes to the actual boombox. This is a thing that I don't remember ever happening, that the boombox Transformers were active boomboxes. Now, they did have cassettes that were other Transformers. And I didn't see any function of that. I'm hoping there's going to be like tiny robots that go into this guy's chest that we can pick up later. It's got the voice action. It's got everything else. There's another one that lined up every Robosen Transformer out there, including Optimus, Grimlock, Bumblebee. Who else they got? I can't even remember all of them. And they aligned them all up and made them all transform at the same time. That is absolutely, I think that's about $100,000 in robots. that's sitting on that guy's floor right there. So I don't know, you guys. I don't know how much are you guys Transformers fans in general in here? No.
I'd say yeah. I mean, I watched all the movies. I thought they were. I mean, I love the Michael Bay Transformers.
Okay.
But I think it's funny because when we were on the way to Cleveland, we were talking about this at the gas station about the Transformers. Mm-hmm. And then you showed me a video, and then I haven't heard or seen anything about it. And then after that, you told me, it was all over my TikTok, my pages, and I saw the video that you were talking about the guy lined up all the Transformers and was like telling them to transform back to back to back, and it was insane.
Is the I won't tell you I win the lottery, but there will be signs.
I think that was that was actually like the top comment was that exact thing.
Yeah,
like that's exactly. What like 10K for all those, like that's insane.
Yeah, it's so cool. They're like $100 to $1,500 a piece, I think. Here, actually, I found the video because I did share it on my stuff. This is what it looks like when you have too much time or money on your hands, and you grew up in the 80s. There's what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm saying 6 because the one in the middle is the trailer for Optimus, actually, and he has to do the like hey, because there's like the hey, Siri, hey Google kind of thing. I probably just woke your stuff up. So he's doing the hey to each individual one, and then telling them to transform, and they all do. And I think the one on the right is like the unbranded one they did before they started doing the Transformers. So it's a little bit different, but still he has all of them. So that's incredible. Even the trailer transforms. I forgot about that for Optimus. So
can you get them to interact with each other? Do you know? Like
yes.
if you have Megatron and Optimus Prime, you could have them.
I believe you can. There's like some sequences that they'll interact with each other. So
that's so
like
cool.
That's like and they're programmable. Like there's software that you can go in and create actions and presumably dialogue, like just different modes for it. So it's also like it's also kind of a STEM thing too. Is like, I can make the robot, I can program the robot, learn a little bit of programming from what I understand. So, Mac, have you been seeing these on your feed at all, other than when I'm posting?
No, but I just brought up their website, and it looks like they have like the block-based programming that you see with like Swift for Kids, where it's like you drag and drop it in, and they have like normal full-out programming. So it's like a nice way to be like, hey, kid, like here, learn programming, and then they can like slowly graduate to like actually doing it themselves instead of just dragging and dropping.
Do I see this? Do they have a Buzz Lightyear as well? Is that what's happening here? That's incredible. Soundwave is the biggest thing right now. Oh God, they do have a Disney section. Oh no, where of course Transformers is the biggest one to go in right now, and right now they're a lot of them are on sale, several $100s off in some cases here. So 100 to like Soundwave is the biggest one. It's $1,400. It's $1,000 right now. So yeah, these are on average about like $1,300 guys. There is a Buzz Lightyear robot. And there are some mini robot Toy Stories, and there's a Wall-E with Eve. Oh no! And then there's the original robots they got there. What does the Buzz Lightyear do? Tell me more about this. Please tell me you have a video of this situation. But it's a great way. Okay, for the well-to-do parents, it's a great way to get your kid into programming, I guess. But there's much cheaper. Like I know we have like $100 drone that I got because I wanted to try a drone out before I crashed one that was expensive, and it has a lot of programming kind of functions in it. I forget the name of it. We talked about it on the show a bit ago. It was funny because we went to a Florida Air Design. We went to the Florida Air Museum for a shoot where they do aero design for SAE down in Lakeland, Florida, and they just had a stack of these for the kids because they were doing stuff, and that's where I learned like, oh, you're not actually supposed to use these outside, which I understood because every time there's a little bit of wind, that you can't control it at all. There's just nothing to it. It was like basically an indoor drone, and that was it. So. Very interesting.
I don't know if you saw on the app, but they do have a video of the Buzz Lightyear one, which I'm watching right now.
Okay.
They have it's like an app that they have, and it has a whole bunch of commands. So one of the ones they have is like, you do is like catchphrases. You like start command, you scan the area. It's so like fluid that it's like how the toy acts in Toy Story. Like when you're not around and the Toy Story is moving around, this is what this toy looks like. So I could see why it's as expensive as it is.
So, there he is. He's like throwing punches and stuff. Like that. It's like the animatronic in the Buzz Lightyear ride at Disney World.
Yeah.
But it's coming for you. So this feels very Megan to me right now. So if you've seen that movie, but yeah, he just that's really cool. I'm surprised this never came up on my feed. And there's the programming stuff. I say the app based, and they have a laptop based version as well. Or PC-based, Mac-based, whatever it is. So that's really cool. Really interesting. All right, Mac, what is your awesome thing of the week?
This is from beginning of November-ish, with the Apple TV rebrand and the whole like everything's going to liquid glass, they actually redid the Apple TV like logo intro thingy before all of your shows, and it's all made using practical effects, using glass panes that they moved around and individually like took videos of and edited together, which I think super cool just because they've had a massive push to like let's make everything AI, but they're still like let's keep this one thing practical just because we can afford it.
Mm-hmm. That's really interesting because I mean, you see these kind of reboots every once in a while on the graphics, but if you didn't know, you'd have no idea that wasn't digital the way they did it, right?
No, absolutely not. And especially something that's like 3 seconds that no one actually pays attention to, like something small that's just like, look, we still respect like real artists and like the care, and we like want to put this effort into our platforms.
I would be sad when Apple went to like developing things like this with something like, well, they could have completely digitized this thing too, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So like they really are like an artist company kind of to begin with. I don't know if they're as much as they used to be. You know, I was going back and forth. One, it's amazing we're getting so many comments these days, and that's tremendous. But I was going back with somebody about whether oh, they don't really innovate anymore, right? So I think they're a little bit of in a trap there, but then they could do something like this for their TV platform.
Well, it was one of those things where all the comments I was seeing is half of them were like, "This is so cool, like we love it," and the other half are like, "Why are they putting money into this and not like this other like platform that they're having issues with?" And it's like it's one of those things where I always like to believe like if they're not gonna do it, then who is? Like at least someone out here is doing it.
Yeah, and just because. Listen, Apple has all the money. They can do whatever they want with it, and yeah, and that's another matter of them dealing or not dealing with platforms, right? So, very cool. So what was it made out of? Did you catch that in the article at all?
It's glass.
It's all glass.
It's all glass.
Of course, they love their glass there, don't they? So awesome. Tony, have you seen this?
Yeah, I did see it on my feed, and I like thought the same way, because my fear as a film major is that in the future, film is slowly like creating things is gonna slowly disappear with AI. So seeing like something small like this, just creating the intro, like being made with human like artists it's nice to see. Like it kind of gives me a little hope that maybe it won't all disappear when I'm actually looking for jobs. So.
Well, I think there's, there's a little bit of like you're always going to have the vinyl version of some people are going to like to do things the old school way, but you also do need to be mindful of, okay, the things that are skills that are professional now are going to be commodified. How many things was I learning in 2000 that you can all do on a phone right now? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's only going to grow in that and democratize. So you have to, as you get into the professions, kind of figure out what makes you different than somebody just doing it with their phone, right? And put that over. And you're not going to win every case in that. People think, oh, I'm just going to do everything on my phone and it'll be fine for my stuff. Good for them. Yeah. It's just go into the client that cares about that kind of quality and stuff like that. And that's going to be hard to find those as these things get better and better. And you have to continue being like, well, I'm the professional with the eye for these and things like that. So
well, also for Coca-Cola, they just did a commercial, and it was their like annual Christmas commercial, and that one was made like completely with AI.
I think they did the same thing last year too.
Yeah, and like, I mean, it's not a bad commercial, but you could tell like the difference of that commercial versus a different Christmas commercial. You see that like people put work into doing. Like it's, I mean, I'm towards like AI is the future, so work with it, but I don't think completely saying AI create this commercial for like Coca-Cola Christmas kind of just.
I'd like to learn more about how they did it.
Yeah.
Like how did they apply AI to this?
Yeah.
It's not like they just put in a prompt and had a commercial, right?
Yeah.
Like it's still editing, it's still prompting, it's still engineering, it's still re-rendering and things like that, right? So I'd be curious about that. So you guys are doing like, film-based things at the University of Pittsburgh now. I'm really kind of curious, just we can tangent for a moment. Like what are the discussions around, AI, around the school, around the professions and things that you're looking at? Like what is that kind of looking like right now?
Well, for me, I mean, with Premiere, a lot of the newer like stuff, like the newer additions and newest stuff you can use with the app is AI based. Like it's hard not to use AI for stuff like that. My professors are more towards like, they know like us not using it is kind of we're behind. Like everyone is using it.
Mhm.
It's just they don't want you to like, okay, we need you to create a prompt for this class. They don't want you to go to chat and say, create like a short film prompt about this and then submit that. Or they don't want you to like, you have to review something. They don't want you to look up like, hey, review this film and then tell me like, talk about the editing techniques. Like they want you to actually create that on your own. But for the actual like editing stuff, like Premiere has such a good like stuff. Like it's such a good program to use for editing. And like the AI stuff is like, it's very helpful. So they're not against using that. It's more towards like the actual like film, like the essay stuff, the reviewing stuff, like doing all that stuff. They're very against. Like you just don't like that. That's something you want to do on your own. You want to learn stuff. You should watch the film and comment on the editing. You know.
What about you, Mac?
I actually had a conversation with my academic advisor, and it pretty much came down to like he was showing me stuff he like generated with AI, and it came down to like he had no problems with himself using it because he's been trained, he's made movies, he's put in his work. The issue comes whenever people come in and they're like, I made this movie with AI, I'm basically a filmmaker. Like I put in some words into this prompt. I'm just as good as you with your 4-year degree that you put all this money into.
Right.
And it sucks. It sucks being told that by someone. It's like, dude, I'm putting in a lot of effort into this. And I've seen some pretty good like AI generated content. But it just comes down to like being like, I understand the background behind all of this and like why this is working. You know this is working just because you're looking at it and it's working.
This reminds me partially, again, we're talking about the tools, right? When I was, again, around 2000, when I started going to school, we had digital, like Avid, things like that were starting to become a thing. Premiere was pretty standard. But they still, and I don't know if you guys have this anymore, but they still had us do one class where we filmed on tape and edited reel to reel on tape, like as a project, as a small project. That was going away. That was not going to be fundamentally, the chances we were going to get a job was crazy. Although I did have to deal with VHS dubs when I did get a job, but I didn't have to edit. I was still doing Premiere and then eventually Final Cut, right? But but that still kind of made you appreciate. And then before that, like I think about the era, like when they talk about the 80s, it's like, no, they would take a scissors and cut film and edit.
We still talk. I've had in my one class history of film production, like he was like, this is exactly how they did it. And like we watched videos of them doing it just to understand, like, hey, you guys have it good now. You never had to deal with this.
You really wanted to do this if you want. That's what you're talking about, like the painstakingness of an artist back then, right? Versus now. Not that it's not hard, but it's not as hard as it used to be. Hence all the awesome creative stuff that's out there right now, right? I wouldn't be able to do this kind of stuff, right? Quite as easily. So it's really kind of interesting to see how that's kind of developing. So. But it's good that there are those discussions, and I worry that too many people will come up using these tools and not learning the fundamentals. Yeah. And it's going to be a fight to get people to learn the fundamentals to proceed. So there's a whole bigger discussion around this too. Tony, what's your awesome thing?
Okay, so mine is kind of
now for something completely different.
Yeah, no, completely 180. Mine is a little stupid, but I think it's funny. So I was doing some Christmas research, trying to find things to get for people. And I came across this like butts on things like blind box. And I was like, obviously, like that's a perfect gift. Like everyone should get that. And then I got into I went to a whole deep scroll of like, they have so many different products. They have puzzles, games, like paint, like coloring books, like everything. And I was like, this is such like an untapped market because everyone finds butts funny. Like it's just, it'll always be a thing. And I just got into, I was just for hours just looking at all this stuff. So I'm probably going to get a couple gifts for people that are different butts on things. It's just amazing.
I don't know if we talked about this on the show or this is just something Katie would have sent me, but I'm familiar with this too. So you're saying you're looking at butts on the internet for hours?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
But of course, the one thing I wanted was the blind box is sold out because it just makes sense.
A blind butt box?
A blind box butts on things is sold out.
The triple B. The blind bucks on. God, now I.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Once you see something cool on TikTok, you're like, wow, I have to look this up. And it's viral on TikTok, so it's sold out.
Oh, no. Good for Brian Cook, the author of Butts on Things, Activity Book Color, and Fun for All. So
I do kind of want to get the game and see what that's about. That'd be interesting.
Wait, what's the game? Is it a board game?
No, it's the Cheek to Cheek card game.
Oh no, hold on, let me look this up.
I think that I'm curious as to what it is. Kind of looks like, I honestly actually have no clue.
Cheek to Cheek card game?
Cheek to Cheek card game.
Oh, there's a tutorial. Oh, I really hope I'm clicking on a tutorial for the
right
thing that we think this is, because this is going to get really awkward. I don't know. It's cards. I don't know. Maybe it's just a card. No, this is just a card game.
Oh,
okay.
There's one actually called.
Apparently, there's actually a card, like with regular cards you can do. Yeah, cheek to cheek demo. It's a magic trick. Okay, let me do Butts on Things with that and see if I can find it real quick. Butts on Things cheek to cheek card game. I got it over on Amazon. Oh, I guess it was that first one. I didn't realize that was a card game I was looking at. Oh boy, it's just a picture card game.
Yeah, basically.
But I kind of want to know how it goes.
I know that's. I'm very intrigued.
I'm so interested in that. That is $15, and I'm adding it to my cart for later because I know a few people that may be interested in that. So there you go. Butts on Things, perfect for your Christmas gift giving this year apparently. So awesome. Hey, who's also awesome are our awesome Patreon supporters, patreon.com/awesomecast. Our friends Brian Crawford, who was here a few weeks ago talking about his trip to Japan. He's actually got an AI tool that we might have to bring him back in the next month for. Cynthia Klosky, John DeGore, and Dave Podner, who's out on assignment this week, as is Katie, of course. But they'll be back. And thank you guys, everybody, supporting the show. Patreon.com/awesomecast. We are still putting out Patreon content. We have the live stream that takes you through the entire evening of Tuesday nights on the Sorgatron Media Podcast night, and with this Wrestling Mayhem show. And you can see kind of behind the scenes what's going on while we're getting prepared, while we're going in, while the graphics are going and things like that. What do we talk about while Chachi's on screen, during the next segment, which is Chachi's Video Game Minute. And we're going to go check that out and be right back after this.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Chachi Says Video Game Minute. Here's as much video game news as I can cover in under a minute. Fast and Furious director Justin Lin has been tagged to direct the upcoming Helldivers movie. Turns out that the proposed Netflix takeover of Warner Brothers includes Warner Brothers Gaming, so I can't wait to see what happens to the other licensed IP Netflix is currently making content for. And finally, and some news that I enjoy, it's rumored that a few Japanese video game companies are making graphic design applicants draw in their interviews just to prove they can. This is to hopefully prevent new hires from joining the company and just using AI to complete the work that's requested of them. I say rumored because I only have one source, and they don't name any other real sources, so it is literally just rumors. But what can I say? It's a slow news week. Thanks for tuning in to this week's Chachi Says Video Game Minute. We'll see you next time.
All right, is the wrestling... No, this is AwesomeCast. That's later. I mentioned it in the last segment, so I got all weird. Anyways, we got a lot to talk about. Mac, I want to get to that one thing in the moment that you said off air. But in the meantime, I do want to say, because Chachi, is bringing up an interesting fact. Of course, the Netflix deal with Warner Brothers came out late last week, and of course that may be up in the air with Paramount apparently putting a hostile bid going to the shareholders, so we'll see what happens there. But that is one thing that a lot of people, I think, well, in my world, we're thinking about what's happening to the wrestling, right? But one big thing is WB Games is going to be a part of this merger as part of Warner Brothers. And that includes like the Batman Arkham series, the Suicide Squad game that I'm playing now, Mortal Kombat. Netflix would own Mortal Kombat. How strange is that? On top of they would own like DC Comics and things like that. I don't know. Have you guys been kind of reacting to that? Any of your favorite properties, you're kind of concerned of what Netflix would do to it or anything like that?
My biggest concern is, I don't know his name, but the head guy was talking about how this is so good for television because no one goes to the cinema anymore, and cinema is a dying subject, which is crazy because everyone still goes to movie theaters. I don't want to, because people were talking about the next Batman movie, you're gonna have to watch it on Netflix rather than in the movie theaters, like that just doesn't seem right.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of hoping that the deal, like, it doesn't go through.
Mm-hmm.
But with that being said, would that mean that like the Warner, like Batman, you could play on Netflix games if the deal goes
I would
through?
imagine if they own it. I mean,
Yeah.
Xbox bought all the Activision Blizzard stuff, and it's all day and date on my Game Pass. I can log into BattleNet and play all their stuff on PC with my Game Pass login, right? Like, yeah, no, they're gonna do the thing that makes sense, which is basically subscriptions right now.
Yeah.
But they're gonna have so many other verticals, right? Because they're gonna have, a stake in theme parks. I think maybe they're gonna have, which actually could be interesting. Now you're gonna have Stranger Things at all the Six Flags. I don't know, which I think that did get spun off or something like that. But whatever that deal is, comic books are a part of that, which means you already have crossovers with things like that. They're just gonna have so many more properties to deal with other than like ones they've built, like a Stranger Things, right? So what do you think, Mac?
I'm excited for my own selfish reasons of Warner Brothers owns Cartoon Network and Adult Swim. I'm sick of going through and like having to search through all my different streaming services. Like, okay, where is this one show at? Because right now, at least with like Adult Swim, I feel like a lot of them are spread out. Either I know some are on HBO, some are like solely held on the Adult Swim website, and it just sucks because I'm looking through and I'm trying to find them. So I'm hoping that by buying them, it means that they're going to keep them all consolidated. And there is the whole like, oh, now Netflix has even more properties and they're going to make even more money. But I'm also hoping that they're going to have all this money. They're going to put out new content, especially for, I don't know. I feel like I haven't heard of any like good cartoons from Cartoon Network recently or anything like that.
No.
I would love to see a resurgence in cartoons, personally.
Universally, now while we have some great stuff going on with James Gunn and the DC universe at the moment, universally, people are not happy with how the leadership at Warner Brothers Discovery has been going, and that's been a rough trail for, I don't know, a decade. The entire DC cinematic universe, for instance, in the 2010s. Let's talk about that for a second, right? But yeah, no, I think that they're saying, well, Netflix leadership's got to be better than this, so why not, right? I don't know if Paramount's going to be a positive thing. Either way, another conglomeration is kind of bad for a lot of people. So there is that, but there is so I won't have to pay for a second service to watch all these things. Maybe, no, it's getting really bad. Like I'm going on HBO Max and I'm like, what do you mean you don't have, like this came up. What do you mean you don't have Harry Potter right now? Right. Like it's apparently it's on Peacock. So they're like, they don't even have all their DC stuff all over it's all over the place. And that's been really interesting to see. Yeah, I'd be curious to see how Netflix could leverage this. I think it's a fascinating experiment. But man, people are going to lose jobs left and right in the business, and there's going to be less content and this consolidation, and they're going to piss off movie theaters, and and then Paramount's like coming back and saying, well, we're going to have like 200 movies next year. I'm like, okay, great. How many are going to make you money? At this point. So
I would like to see, with this deal, Netflix going to make an insane amount of money. I would like them to bring back password sharing, because it's insane to me that I can't watch Netflix in college because my parents are paying for it and it's their at their household. Which that is that's just absurd.
No, absolutely. So, which is another thing. I mean, that's maximizing profits, and that's we talked about this on about the companies that own WWE over on the wrestling show here recently too. So, but yeah, it's man, yeah. Again, selfishly, you're like, it's kind of like, hey, when the cell phone carriers get merged, selfishly, I like that my HBO was included in my AT&T for the last decade. I finally got out of that because they're not even the same company anymore, and they're trying to kick you off of it and find ways to get you off of it. But that's still not great for competition, because great, you're definitely going to get an HBO, it's going to kill a lot of that stuff, and that price is only going to go up on Netflix. It's only going to go up.
Prices are already going up, so I can only imagine with this deal.
Yeah, it's crazy with that stuff. So all of these there's too many of them, but thankfully half of them you can get with ads through Instacart or something. I'm constantly amazed how many of these services, oh man, I guess I got to unsubscribe to some of these services. Oh no, these two are included in this. This is included in this. This is included in this. And it kind of works out in the end. So either way. Hey, actually no. Let's roll back, because Mac, you said you had a little bit of update about Waymo.
Yeah. Reoccurring topic here. Waymo cars are going to be receiving software updates. They've described it as a recall for some reason.
Oh no.
Um,
I think that's been labeled. Somebody else did that too.
there was, according to an Atlanta school district, there are 19 instances of Waymo vehicles illegally and dangerously passing district school buses that are stopped.
Oh, I heard about this.
One drove past right after a kid crossed in front of the vehicle, and another one, a kid was still in the road. And apparently it's a voluntary software recall too. So like at least they like are deciding to do it instead of being strong-armed into it, but that shouldn't be an issue in the first place.
No, but I mean, these are the kind of things that are going to crop up when you get into the real world, right? I mean, as you develop, this is a hard problem to solve. This is absolutely a hard problem to solve. So, and we got the USA Today article up here about it. So at least like they are, I feel like other companies like Tesla, for instance, somebody has to make them do something like this, right? And usually like a Department of Transportation for a state usually will have to take them to court over doing something about this. But they're like, oh, it's just fine. Yeah, that's a big issue. But the more they get out, the more they find these scenarios in different kinds of cities, the more they're going to have to fix something like this. And I think software recall is just a terminology at this point, right? So it is going to be literally, it's got to go home and do an update. And make sure it takes like an iPhone.
On that same thing, while Mac was talking about that, I looked up Waymo cars, and one of the top stories is a woman delivers baby in Waymo taxi en route to the hospital.
I heard about this.
Yep. It's just like, of course, because it's just so funny to tell like you were born, and then people ask where were you born, and then you have to say in an automated car on the way to the hospital.
That's a story.
Yeah,
that's a sitcom right there, isn't it? So that is. You guys ever watch Silicon Valley?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you remember the one where he got in the car and it ended up getting recalled, and he ends up on a shipping container going off to an island or something.
I think that's like my biggest fear though, being in like a driverless car and it just goes haywire and just decides like I'm doing this now. And
have you been in a driverless car?
No. I'm terrified of them.
I did take a ride in the early Ubers when they had their media day, and our videographer Scotty Swemba this is more scary. He went for a ride in the back of one of the student ones at Auto Drive Challenge and got some footage. He said it was pretty wild. And honestly, when you're in it, it just feels like you're in. I mean, you've done a car with cruise control, right? Yeah. Have you done one with the sensors where it like speeds up and slows down?
My new car has that, and I refuse to use it. Every time it like automatically brakes for me because it thinks something's in front of me, like just
freaks you out. Yeah, we did the auto drive. Like it wasn't the full auto drive, but it was like the the cruise control thing, like with a Tesla we rented in Tampa, and it would save my life in well, hopefully in stop and go traffic, because it would take care of that for you, right? And stop and go is pretty easy. Like as long as if you're going 80 miles an hour is another thing. We actually did have a comment on YouTube this week from somebody when we were talking about this. They said that I told them I want to talk to you on the show because they said that they exist in Pittsburgh with full autonomous self-driving on Tesla.
I have seen there are a few around Pitt's campus that I've seen, and they're like labeled like super big, like driverless car, like be cautious around.
Are they Teslas or are they something else?
I don't think they're Teslas.
I'm concerned with the Tesla because they're not supposed to have all the sensors that everybody else does. So so there's been a lot of contention on whether they're advertising it, appropriately, implementing it appropriately. Can they actually pull this off safely? A lot of times, no. Not a lot of times, but enough to be like the cause concern, right? You've heard about a few fatalities where people are like reading a book while they're going down the 101 that did not end well. So I'd be really kind of curious on how that works. If it's rush hour, I think you'd be kind of okay. But I did respond. I want to know how the dreaded Fort Pitt crossover works for you in the automated Tesla. So
especially like I already have problems like on the Pittsburgh bridges with like direction apps that like just don't know where I am because it can't tell my like location up or down. I can't imagine like being in a car and then it thinks like, oh, I'm on the bridge above me and starts trying to go the other way or something like that.
Yeah. Speaking of AI, we're talking about AI on television earlier. We've talked about how, I know I've seen the story and now I've had to witness this a good bit. we talked about how like the Telly TV that I have has a news program which is definitely generated by AI. I took a little bit because there was a story about a judge that apparently dresses as Elvis, and I thought it was hilarious. I'm watching this thing. Here's the video if you guys are with us on the visuals. So you get this kind of like host who's definitely not real. Her face movements are definitely weird after a while, right? But then they're telling the story, and they have these wild AI generated Judge Elvis shots in here that are just absolutely nuts. Like it's like insanely buff Elvis, and then you have this geeky bow tie guy, and there's the actual picture, which is nothing to do with anything they were showing with the AI before. So again, it's gas station TV. It's really kind of lowbrow kind of stuff, and it's like I kind of find it hilarious when it comes on and we get a story like that. So, and it's all entertainment. It's not like, and this is how the war in the Middle East is going and stuff like that, right? So it's all like it's all candy. But and again, that's one of those like she's definitely AI, right? Like she's got to be AI. Somebody still needs to sit there and generate that and write that and bring the stuff in and apparently put a prompt in for Buff Judge Elvis. Show title, by the way, Buff Judge Elvis. And I don't know what to think of that, honestly. I think we'll see more content. I think, I mentioned gas station TV, on the pumps and things like that. I think that's going to end up looking like this in the near future as people go through. They're not going to get, when Maria Menounos' contract goes out, I only know that name that sticks with me because she did stuff with WWE, but she's also on like gas station TV or Sheets TV or whatever the heck it is. When her contract goes out, she's getting replaced with a damn CG something or other, right? So, but that was kind of an interesting thing that I wanted to share with you.
I would love to see a show of like AI versus not AI, like maybe with like an older generation because it's just more fun. And have them sit in front of a screen and show them 2 videos of real and AI and see if they could pick apart which one is the AI and which is different. Because there's a lot of videos where I can't even tell the difference.
Oh, it takes a moment, right?
Yeah, I'd love to see
and
that.
it's going to get better and crazier. How many of those things of me? Sora, where you're just like, wait a minute, was I wearing a turkey suit?
Yep.
Do I own a turkey suit? I'm not sure anymore when I look at that picture. So
I did see it was AI generated Friends, and they just used a bunch of episodes of Friends to get the AI.
Yeah.
And then, like, at one point in the clips, Ross just keeps multiplying. Like, like it makes like 3 or 4 of him. Like by the end of the clip, that was only like 10 seconds long.
What's the plural of Ross? Rosses? Rossi? Or just Ross?
I think it's just Ross.
Just Ross. Sorry. Okay. All right. Jeez. Moving on. Hey, do you remember when we talked about the GameStop Trade Anything Day? This is less awesome, honestly. So, and we were like, hey, taxidermy, et cetera, et cetera. People were kind of going on about it. Also, somebody told me it was December 26th on the comments today, and I thanked them for the information, but I realized it was wrong. maybe it's the 6th, I guess. But either way, so we actually had GameStop employees responding to us on comments about this, about how terribly advertised this is and how it's going to be a complete cluster for them, and it's actually absolutely terrible for them. Turns out is worse than we could have thought. According to this article over on Polygon, which definitely has, wait, is that a real dog or is that a taxidermy dog? I'm not sure anymore. But anyways, it talks in here a lot about how terrible it is. And of course, GameStop is like loving this and posting the pictures, especially of the taxidermy. There is I think that's a bobcat. And there's it's some kind of, it's a bird of some kind. Either way. And there's some other videos. Somebody literally just put grass in a tube and tried to have them traded in, and they figured something out apparently. But of course there was a lot of somebody wrote a note apparently. I'm sorry that they're to the dudes at GameStop. I hope your day has been well. I'm sorry that there are. What does this say? There are people trying to trade in garbage. That sucks, and I hope no one in the area did that. I also hope that you are doing well. People outside of GameStop stay sane and happy holidays. I love somebody that actually was worried about them. But some of the stories I saw on here were like people were definitely actively trolling the GameStop employees, which already like one of the employees is like, we already have terrible people that come in here trying to trade stuff.
Yeah.
And now like somebody was trying to trade porn. Somebody tried to trade, what was it, a Sonic plushie, and they put a fleshlight in it.
Oh my gosh.
Like, and then of course they're like, yeah, we can't take that, and then they get belligerent, and multiple customers had to be thrown out over this ordeal across the board. Meanwhile, GameStop corporate is like, this is great, we're going to do this again. I would be considering new jobs at this point if I was working.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because the only video I seen of this was a guy bringing in just like 8 cans of beans, and in the video the employees are like having fun. They take pictures with it, and after the comment section is like, I'm so glad they're doing this. It's the GameStop employees are having so much fun. It's cool to see. But which is the only video I saw, so I was assuming like, yeah, the GameStop employees are loving it. Seeing all the fun stuff. Yeah. But now I could see how like it could get terrible for all.
It has been described as psychological torture.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
To them. Broken plastic spoons. Let's see. Got 5 cents for a piece of lint. There was an obligatory 6-7 joke. I did not click on this, I'm afraid to, but one dude pulled up a literal ticket to Pound Town, and I'm going to just open this over here and see what's going on. No, it's literally just a paper ticket that he's filming walking in with this thing. Okay, there you go. We can show this then. The poor unsuspecting GameStop employees, and this is like one of those like, oh God, get me out of this situation here. God, retail's not great. It's literally just a ticket to Pound Town. Okay, they're having fun with that at least. So, the thing is, what does GameStop do with all this stuff afterwards? Too. Like, I'm hoping the beans went to a food shelter at least, right? Or is that how they're supplementing their employees that might be on SNAP? So I don't know. It's I don't think it's a good thing, but GameStop reminded us that they exist. So, all right, you guys, what is the oldest like first-person game that you've played? Are you into first-person games? I need to do some research before we get into this next story. Where are you guys coming from?
I don't really play first-person games.
Okay.
Like the oldest games I've played was like the old wrestling games until I got GTA, and that's really all I played.
Okay, we're in GTA mode. Okay, yeah. What about you, Mac?
Oldest first-person's probably Wolfenstein 3D.
Now
I'm
we're talking.
the youngest of my siblings, and I grew up with culture. Whenever I was super young, I think
grew up with culture, and you said Wolfenstein 3D. I love how that went together.
Before I was like, even in school, my dad was like, "Hey, you're gonna sit down. You're gonna learn what an Xbox controller is. Good luck."
Figure out all the buttons. That's actually mean, because when I started back in my day, we had like 2 buttons on the Nintendo. And before that, they had a stick and a button, right? And dots. And now it's like, here, take this thing with 16 buttons on it, and good luck. Have a good day. So maybe it makes you a better person. But anyways, there's I found this video by Bones on YouTube, and it was going back to those old like Quake and Duke Nukem 3D. Like the videos we're shown here for Shadow Warrior Blood and Duke Nukem were actually not very 3D. They were actually 2D sprites that they kind of mapped around objects, kind of thing. Like you can see the bad guys are definitely like 2D sprites in a 3D world kind of thing, right? And they've apparently been ported and work very well in a 3D or in a VR environment. This is you have to own them in most cases, and then there's some free software to port it over to, say, if you have the meta quest or something like that. And they said that these work until you get to the newer ones. They work very well on a standalone thing. You don't necessarily have to connect them to a PC. And they bring you a little bit of oh god, Redneck Rampage is on this too. So, it's the Raze XR is one of the emulators they're talking about. Quake 3 Arena VR all the way up to like Quake 4 seemed to be one of the newer ones that they were talking about here. Again, not with everything on. They said Doom 3 actually kind of choked out the MetaQuest when they got to that. There's a lot of lighting effects in Doom 3 that would like murder computers back in the day. So this is a reason to get a VR helmet for me, because these are a lot of games I played back in the day when I was you guys' age. So especially Quake 3 or something like we're seeing on the screen now. So I think that's a really cool, like, because I feel like a lot of things don't adapt well control wise. There's things with 16 buttons. So but I don't know, what do you think about, like, would you play old games like this?
I think it's cool. You know, you mean when you think of VR, you think of more like modern games. So like, it kind of gets a bigger audience. Like the older generation would like, it gives incentive to
bigger audience, but also remember that this is like a mod that somebody has to go in and this isn't a put a cartridge in kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Or hit play kind of thing. Like there's going to be a little bit of work to go into this to get the file and everything.
It's
right?
true, but I mean it's pretty cool to see
something for tinkerers.
Yeah, I mean also kind of related but not. I just saw today that The Boys is dropping a VR game.
Really?
Which would be really cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's gonna be very bloody, and I'm really worried I'm really worried about what organs are involved.
Yeah.
Knowing that show.
Yep.
So like, do you want that in your face? I'm not entirely sure for something like that. So what do you think, Mac?
I think at the end of the day, whether or not you like VR, it is gonna be the future of video games. And it's like, and the big thing is I always hear people and they're like, well, it makes me motion sick. Well, they're making advances so you don't get motion sick. Like,
yeah, resolution's getting better in that kind of thing, right?
And then like those 2.5D games are like, they're so tiny that they're such like a good like tester of like, hey, does this work at all? Okay, cool. We got something super small to work. Then we can build from the ground up, get more like intense things. And it doesn't require many controls. It's something to be like, oh, you want to try VR? Try this one game that you're probably already familiar with and go have fun. I feel like it's a very good like demo game.
You ever see the VR? Maybe you've watched like Hackers or something from the 90s. Do you remember what VR was in the remember? You don't remember, but so like, when VR came out in the early 90s and it was at malls, it was like this like really stunted, like 10 frames a second kind of thing you see in the corner of this guy's video on King of Nerds. Great channel. I'm going to subscribe. But you get that kind of idea, and look at that headgear. Oh my God, look at that headgear. Gosh. And you had like it was like one of those baby, the thing you put the baby in and it can roll around and it's got wheels on it. Like that's kind of what you stood in, so you didn't have to go anywhere. Fall off the stage or whatever it was set up. So yeah, I guess this guy found one of the old ones and everything. I never got a chance. I did like once I found one at the mall, but parents wouldn't put money in for it. So plus it was also probably like $5 to go play the thing. So this is what we started with. And about around this time is when we saw some of those earlier games that you were seeing in the other feature, right? So like this was real sketchy. So everything was just polygons that maybe had colors. So we've come a long way from even then. So.
I didn't even know they had VR in the 90s.
I think they had VR even before that.
Really?
Like probably in research or something like that.
Yeah.
But this was like, that was the first like semi-consumer thing. And again, it was at the arcade. Like that was probably thousands of dollars. Nobody's getting it in their home, but it was a good introductory kind of thing. And a little bit of a amusement feature, I guess you could say at the time, right? When you go out to the mall, before like all we have is kind of mall games and experiences and slime time and everything. Well, Tony, this is your last week with us here before you're going out of town with the family. Are you guys done? Are you in finals right now this week?
Yeah, this week was finals week, but
okay.
I'm done. So yeah, I'll be gone until the 12th of January.
And then Mac, you got one more week with us.
Yes, I do. I'm in Pittsburgh full time, so.
There you go. So you get to see the insanity that's going to be the end of the year stuff. So that's going to be fun for you. So I we're going to have a little bit more fun with this on the Wrestling Mayhem show. But I want to have a little bit of an exit interview for both of you because we're going to have a different kind of episode next week, honestly. So I guess generally, I think both of you guys came in because you saw the wrestling stuff we did, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So Did you expect something like the AwesomeCast to be a part of that?
Honestly, I didn't even know this. Like when I applied, I only saw like video production. I didn't even I was not expecting like doing podcasts.
Okay.
So, yeah, but I mean it's such a cool experience.
What about you, Mac?
Yeah, Pitt really didn't tell me much. They're like, hey, here's an email, here's like video production
I might have mentioned
stuff.
it in the thing I gave them, but yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's fun. If nothing else, I mean, more experience. So much stuff is going towards podcasting. I've had a lot of classes tell me like, hey, go get experience in podcasting. Like you're gonna want it even if you don't plan on going into it. So I think it's a cool experience.
There's plenty of ways to do it. This is the way we do it. To go, I feel like everybody's kind of like laying in this like 2 microphones and a table kind of model kind of situation, or just doing everything online. So when it comes to just being here on Tuesdays on this show, around for this show, what have you kind of learned from the AwesomeCast, be it from the stories or what we do here on the show or the conversations?
I learned a lot about like new tech, like new Apple products, new like all that stuff. Because like I really only tune into the new phones that drop, but like I didn't realize they dropped this much stuff until I go on the podcast and I hear like, oh, Apple just dropped this. Oh, Apple just dropped this, and they're like some interesting stuff. So like the one thing that really caught me was the Apple sock thing that you like put it like that's insane, and I'd never heard of that until I got to hear
the sock man purse.
Yeah, the sock purse thing. Yeah, like all this stuff that like new advancements that I didn't even know of until I get to hear, and it's kind of interesting to like learn about.
Awesome. What about you, Mac?
I follow technology. That's like the one I love following, like culture and technology, just because I've been in those areas my entire life. But I always think it's fun to like learn new things from people, just like stuff that like, oh, I might have missed this, or like everyone has like their own niche within like technology that they're into. So hearing like someone be like, oh, this is like what I'm super into and getting super passionate about it, I think's fun. I don't know. And if nothing else, I feel like Katie has always had like something like weird that like never would have crossed my path.
Yeah, she's definitely the hey, you guys are gonna talk about phones. I want to bring the butt stuff. But Tony's the butt stuff person this week. So, yeah. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that. So, well, anything else you guys want to say about things you've learned from these last few months?
Well, this is not just specific to the AwesomeCast, but Wrestling Mayhem too. Just the whole like production of a podcast. Like, I mean, there's so much behind the camera. Like when I watch a podcast, I'm like, oh, 2 people sitting there, they're talking, and then there's just after they edit the clips together. I like never realized how much is really done behind this camera, behind the scenes, which is really cool to see. And I mean, it's a whole like for something just like a podcast. When I think of production, I think of film production, broadcasting, but like for a podcast, there's so much more that goes into it. So it was really cool to see.
Podcast is kind of a messed up term.
Well,
to be using with all this.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we're basically doing video. We're doing video production and live and all that. And happen to put it on audio feed.
Yeah.
So, any last words, Mac?
No, I don't think so. Well, no, one thing. I feel like the biggest thing that I learned from this is how to get stuff working back together whenever it goes wrong, like the non-zero amount of times that audio wasn't working. Because Pitt preps you for a lot of the like, hey, here's how to do it, like, here's how you edit things, here's how you do setup. And then whenever it's like actually in it, they're like, if something goes wrong, we have no idea how to help you, just figure it out. So being a little like, oh, shoot, I actually have to figure this out is definitely, I don't know.
For instance, one computer wasn't getting the internet today.
Exactly.
Right? So, and you got to see that in live production. You did do both of you have done a live show with us. NWA Exodus for you, Tony, this past weekend in Cleveland. And then Mac, you did VCW down in West Virginia. Both of you got to leave the state with us.
Yep.
So some more interesting state than others, maybe, but what'd you learn from the live production there? We'll talk more about this in the wrestling aspect of it on the next show, but tech-wise, like what did you guys learn from doing live production the way that we would, and of course Thursday nights we do, of course, too.
Well, one thing I definitely learned is, I mean, 880 is good, but for this one, it's a lot more like professional.
You're talking about NWA Exodus
NWA
Pro
Exodus, yeah.
In Cleveland.
For that show, I mean, we had such a good group with us that the setup and teardown was like seamless. I mean, I felt bad because at times I was standing around doing nothing because I'm like, there's nothing for me to do. I'm just like, there's nothing I can do. But it was so good to, I mean, and the wrestling too was really interesting. So like doing the filming was very fun for me. But it was just like I got to do a production meeting, which is such a cool experience because I never like it was the whole like it kind of felt like what a real actual like production would do like when I graduate, which was good.
And it's definitely, again, we talked about like the owner EC3, he's a former WWE TNA guy, been a champion of a few of those places. So like I think he's bringing like what he likes from what he sees from the top down there and preparing those guys who are getting signed.
Yeah.
So you kind of see that too. Mac, you had a different kind of experience.
It still felt about the same. There were many times I was sitting there like, I don't know what I'm doing. I feel like I should be doing something, but there's nothing to do. But I also don't want to get in anyone's way. Being in a production meeting was super, super cool.
Yeah, you got to see a production meeting too. It was not as fleshed out as what Tony involved with.
No, it felt kind of weird, and it felt like I shouldn't have been there. And the people would like knock on the door and look at me, and I'd be like, I don't know, man. I'm just
who's
an
this kid
intern.
I've never seen before?
But like the only other live production I ever did was with like amp and like guitar setup, which is way different because you don't like you just plug stuff in and then you're like, cool, I'm done. You don't have to worry about like receivers. You don't have to worry about like, oh, what if my microphone cuts out? What if my
we were having big problems
down?
with the SDIs that day too, weren't we?
Yeah. And it just kept going down, and once again it was a lot of like, oh shoot, we don't have time just to like, we can't just stop and like figure it out. We're just gonna make this work as we go.
That is an interesting thing I love about doing live. And to me, like I'm kind of addicted because I always say we're flying without a net. Even when we do this show, it's like the train's rolling. We can't ask them to stop the match, in front of everybody. You have to, the one guy I used to work with used to say when we're doing projects, which I actually kind of hated in that case, but it was like, we're going to have to build the plane while we're flying it. And sometimes you have to rebuild the plane while you're flying it in production and live. So, but very cool. Hey, you guys have been great additions to the team over the last few months. I'm hoping you're going to stick around past the holiday. And, never know where we're going to end up here with a lot of these opportunities coming up. So awesome. I guess, hey, you guys have any social media, anything you're doing you want to plug to the AwesomeCast people?
I wish I did, but no, I have nothing.
It's time to start a podcast or something, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What about you, Mac?
I have nothing to plug. I am a senior. I'm graduating in the spring, so if anyone has any jobs,
there you
I
go.
would really, really like a job.
Please give Mac a job. We only have gigs here.
That too. I'm stealing that. I could also use some jobs.
Yes.
So
How about some jobs?
Yeah,
there you go.
Anyone knows,
It'd be hilarious if I end up bringing you guys to the SAE events where all the engineers are looking for jobs. But you could also be like, hey, you need some video people. Hey, General Motors, you need some media people. Like, you have a media internship by chance?
Yep.
So awesome. It's been great to have you guys. Thank you for being my fill-in co-host for this week. It actually kind of worked out perfectly, right?
Yeah.
So, like, you've been watching this. Can you execute? And you did great today. Thank you so much. And now it's going to be something completely different on the Wrestling Mayhem show in about an hour. Guys, thank you so much. We're going to do Patreon, and we're going to talk about the creepiest robot dogs you've ever seen. So I didn't even want to put them on here and put the Nightmare Fuel on this show. So we're going to do it on Patreon and see what else we get into over there. So thank you guys for joining us. Please, again, follow us on patreon.com/awesomecast. Subscribe to us wherever your fine podcasts are found, and let us know. And also, please follow us on all the stuff so you can comment on our clips and everything throughout the week to remind you if you listen to the show or catch up on things or just get the bite-sized version of AwesomeCast and the things we talk about on the conversation on this show. Again, thank you so much. A lot of people are commenting on a lot of our stuff over the last several weeks, and it's actually been really helpful stuff, not just people telling me how wrong I am. So that happens too, because of YouTube. And so thank you guys so much. We'll see you guys next time. You have been our awesome audience. Have an awesome week. This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com.
I'm Eamon.
I'm Merlin.
And we're a gay.
And his NB.
Are you a reality television connoisseur?
Do you like it discussed from an LGBTQ lens?
If so, A Gay and His NB is the podcast for you.
Hear us break down all your favorite guilty pleasure reality shows from Bravo, Drag Race, and just about everything in between.
Listen to A Gay and His NB on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.